Here are the facts. Astronomy is a work in progress. The search for truth in the heavens has persisted since prehistoric times, and new discoveries constantly change our view of the universe. Every assumption must be questioned. What's a black hole? What's dark matter? How many planets are in the solar system? Think about that last one. Scientists believe our solar system contains 8 planets and 5 smaller bodies called dwarf planets. 2 of these dwarfs, Ceres and Pluto, were once considered planets. So we know the definition of a planet can be a little slippery. It doesn't end there. Throughout the years, some researchers have claimed another planet exists. Its elliptical orbit only brings it into our view every few thousand years. Is it possible? Since the discovery of Neptune in 1846, luminaries like Percival Lowell predicted the existence of other planets. But after the discovery of Pluto in 1930, orbital eccentricities remained. The hunt was on for Planet X, also called Marduk, Nibiru, or the Transplutonian object. Today, most scientists believe Planet X theories are incorrect. They think a miscalculation in Uranus and Neptune's masses generated the confusion. Not everyone is convinced. In fact, some people think the world's governments know about Planet X and purposely keep it a secret. Why? Here's where it gets crazy. Those who believe in Planet X also think it will return soon, triggering catastrophic changes. It's true that the passage of a planet-sized object close to Earth's orbit could obliterate most life. For example, mainstream scientists think that at some point in Earth's ancient history, an object collided with our planet, cleaving away the rock and dirt that became the moon. If these theories are correct, the return of Planet X could bring about something like a biblical apocalypse, with dying crops, rampant disease, and mass extinction. Faced with this disaster, theorists say governments are preparing in secret. To keep society running, they must keep the public uninformed. Other theorists harbor stranger beliefs. Some suggest Planet X is home to an alien race, one that has visited Earth before. They believe the aliens resemble human beings and even created our species thousands of years ago. That ancient societies across the globe worshipped these creatures and knew them by many names, Anunnaki for instance, or Elohim. These were the ancient angels and demons of mythology. When Planet X returns, these aliens will regain control of our planet, beginning a new age in which the gods literally walk among us. It gets weirder. Some researchers think aliens run the government and bred with human beings to create a race of hybrids, the Nephilim in the Old Testament. These hybrids allegedly control Earth's government, banks, and religions. These theorists have no proof, but here's the clever part. If the aliens control the world, they also control the media. This way, anyone who discovers the truth has no way to prove their case and looks like a fool. Despite centuries of research, we still don't understand what orbits around us, approaching and receding in the darkness. Asteroids strike the Earth every day. It's statistically inevitable that something gigantic will eventually hurtle our way.
I got the news on April 23rd, earlier this year, that a flare had been detected by SWIFT, and it was coming from a nearby flare star called DGCVN, I was initially very surprised. SWIFT doesn't normally detect flares from nearby flare stars, and DGCVN is a relatively unknown star.
There are a few things we know about DGCVN. It is an M-class star, also called a red dwarf, and is located only about 60 light-years away.
It's a dim little red star. It has a luminosity that's about 1,000th the luminosity of the Sun. It has a mass that's about 1/3 the mass of the Sun, and a radius that's about 1/3 the radius of the Sun.
The largest solar flare ever recorded happened on November 4th, 2003. It was so powerful that it overloaded the sensors measuring it, but later calculations put it at an X45. Flares are classified according to their strength. The smallest ones are B class, followed by C, M, and X, the largest. An X45 flare is a very powerful flare. DGCVN's flare, however, was much larger.
We can estimate how big the flare on DGCVN was with respect to the solar scale. It would have been an X100,000. So this is several orders of magnitude larger than the biggest solar flare we've ever seen. The flare that SWIFT triggered on from DGCVN was only the beginning of what turned out to be a fairly extended series of flares, a flare event, if you will, that lasted almost 20 days.
This was a very different star than the Sun, so we don't really have to worry about this happening in the present-day Sun. The young Sun, such large events may have occurred. In the present-day Sun, the activity levels are much lower. And the fundamental reason that DGCVN is more active than the Sun is it's a very young star, 30 million years. It's rapidly rotating. Young stars are born that way. And rapid rotation is one of the key ingredients which powers activity. The faster the rotation, the greater the activity.
While not a threat to us, the massive flares of red dwarf stars can help us better understand the flares produced by our own Sun. They are also of interest because red dwarf stars are often orbited by planets. Some data suggest that 40% of red dwarfs have super-Earth-type planets orbiting in a habitable zone, where liquid water is possible. If this is true, then they are good candidates for supporting life. However, the habitable zone around a cool, dim star like DGCVN is much closer to the star than the Earth is to the Sun.
When planets are closer to their star, they're more susceptible to anything the star does. For instance, if the star flares, the planet is much closer to the star and it can be hit by the radiation or the particles that get ejected from the star when this flare process happens. If you happened to be on a planet around an M dwarf when one of these large flares went off, you'd be having a very bad day.